Class of 2020, welcome home. It is so good to have you back in this chapel. Though I did not share years with you on this campus, I have shared years on this campus of my own. As chaplain, as student, and so we are already stitched together, you and me. I'm Gina Finicaro. I'm one of the chaplains here at Andover now, and it is my delight on behalf of the chaplain colleagues to welcome you to Cochran Chapel again tonight. A long time coming. Welcome in, welcome home. I trust you remember enough about the logistics of this space, where the doors and the exits are in case of emergency. You may remember less well the maze that is the lower level of the chapel. Restrooms are downstairs in the back corner of the building. Ushers can help if you do not remember, or as a family member in this space, it's new to you. I hope you got a candle as you came in. Everyone needs a candle. There are plenty more. If you didn't, the ushers can help you get a candle. When we get to that moment, I'll remind you the lit candle stays upright and the unlit one bends to the lit candle to receive light from it. Friends, for me, this chapel has a particular wrinkle in time element to its being. When I come in, I can forget how old I am. Am I 14, or am I the adult or faculty member that I have become? The familiar smell of wood, especially on a humid night, takes me back to an ASM in the early 90s, to Baccalaureate for the class of 2025 just last week, with so many moments in between: joyous, sad, solemn, focused, inspired, restless. Feel all the feels as you tuck in here tonight. You have returned to the fold, and this space is large enough for all of it: nostalgia, regret, love, disappointment, pride, gratitude. Wherever these last years have taken you, you return now. The same you, and very much an entirely different you, all at once. You contain multitudes. The next time you come into this space, tonight's details will be among the memories. But for this moment, let us breathe together and arrive. You made it back here. We made it here together, aware of those that are not with us for so very many reasons. Let us take a moment to pause and to invite their spirit and memory into this space too. In this soon-to-be moment of silence, stir up a face or a name from the many varied aspects of your life for different reasons. Maybe you're thinking about a family member who's not here this weekend for whatever reason, or a beloved faculty member or coach. There were those who started this Andover journey with you and did not go the distance for whatever reason. There were those who ran the good race and could not be here tonight for whatever reason. So let's just name it. There are a lot of emotions swirling around tonight. I don't know what each of them are for you. I just know there's a lot swirling that does not add up to one thing. So let's take a moment of silence together and sit in remembrance and memory, and remember whomever, a loved one, a friendship, a relationship lost, and give it a little air to breathe right now. And now, exhale. I relieve you of the doubt or the question that there's some way you should be feeling this weekend. Joy is possible because you've known the other side of it: loss, anxiety, fear, sadness. Joy is sweet because it is hard-earned and seen. It can take a lifetime to appreciate its arrival. But it looks like love, gratitude, and hope. Whoever you remembered in the better times and of our shared silence, I hope it was someone who always wanted what was best for you, someone who held hope when you doubted, someone who believed in your potential, who celebrated your small and big victories, who wobbled alongside you when you needed it, someone who always saw you arriving back in this wrinkle of time, to know joy in this place again. And now, let us begin. We will sing together the hymn that's on the back of your bulletin, and I invite you to stand as you are so inspired and able.
Let me add my welcome back to the class of 2020. I've now completed my 15th year at Andover, and my 15th year minus one of opening this baccalaureate evening. So tonight fills this gap for me, for you, and for so many of us at Andover who dispersed in 2020. The images and words and symbols I've used over the years for prayers and blessings and invocations just didn't fit for your commencement weekend. So let me offer your class an alternative image, that of a simple and elegant handmade tool, so my show and tell, a boomerang. Found in ancient cultures around the whole world, it is most known for its connections to Australia and Aboriginal cultures, with images and rock paintings going back over 20,000 years. For Aboriginal people, this boomerang is as old as creation and is a symbol of enduring strength across all time. It's used as a hunting tool, a weapon, as a percussion instrument for ceremonial dance. And this particular type of boomerang, with its aerodynamic design, is called a returning boomerang. And boomerang throwers of this particular type greet one another by saying, "Full circles to you." The speaker wishing that whatever good the other person does in this world returns to them in full measure. The main purpose for this particular type is for sport or leisure, just for the sheer pleasure of throwing it and throwing it the right way with exacting technique so it returns to you. It is said, when flung by a skillful hand, it is sure to return to the spot from whence it was sent. So my friends, a sincere and heartfelt welcome back to this place from whence you were sent in 2020. In an Australian love song written in the 19th century, a poet writes, "By fate's strong hand I am hurled away to the distance blue and dim. From the light and love of thy face each day to the far horizon's rim, I go, since it must be so." 'Twas thus we softly sang. I go, my dear, but never fear, I'll come back to you like a boomerang. Come back to you still sure and true as the boomerang. So I add mine to the great gratitude of so many at Andover that sure and true class of 2020 you've returned to us and to this commencement weekend that has been quietly forming within you since you arrived at Andover about a decade ago. Tonight, tomorrow, may you hold close your companions and friends, those once again gathered from far-flung places. Relish the rich feasting of your stories. Embrace the laughter and the tears. And may gratitude, joy, and a light heart accompany these Andover days, and blessings and peace on your return to us. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Guys, let's try again. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Abigail Ndikum. I am a member of the class of 2020. And I've had the privilege of standing as the alumni president over the last 5 years. So thank you all very much for this opportunity. It's an honor to be before you all today. My Andover class of 2020, faculty, staff, and our loved ones. Thank you to Dr. Renard Kington and Jim Ventry for the opportunity to speak at the 2020 Candlelight Baccalaureate, and to Naomi, Jenny, and Rev G for supporting me through the preparation process. John Palfrey, it's a pleasure to have you back. Thank you for taking the time to come back to campus. We have traveled far and wide to convene and celebrate not only our first reunion, but also our high school graduation. To be honest, when they told us that we would finally graduate at our 5-year reunion, I couldn't help but think that 2025 was so far away. But look at us, here we are. It's a blessing to stand here before you all in fellowship with the people who drastically shaped me into the woman I am today. I remember driving onto Andover's campus with my family in the fall of 2016 and excitedly watching the Blue Keys welcome me and my family. My mom can recall that I didn't look back twice to say goodbye to them as they left me to begin my journey in a new home. I fell in love with my dorm, Isham, the best freshman girls' dorm in my opinion. There we go. And shout out to Johnson as well. During my matriculation, we gathered on the Great Lawn into circles by our cluster, and I remember wanting to make a lasting impression on my peers during the introductions. So, when it was my turn, I had the bright idea to say, "My name is Abby, don't be crabby." It was super corny, I know, but it did leave an impact. Shout out to Sebastian Romero for calling me Crabby Abby every time he saw me after that moment. So many other memories run through my head as I stand before you all today. Singing Despacito at the top of our lungs during all school dances, rushing after ASM to comments to get in line first for Nestor's delicious stir fry, freezing in the cold during Andover Exeter football games that we, of course, won, standing on the Great Lawn in confusion during the random gas leak, trying not to fall asleep during the mandatory video trainings of the gym fitness test, staying indoors during the unexpected Zika virus outbreak, and excitedly turning in my last assignments before spring break of senior year. But then it happened. COVID came, and life drastically shifted. I remember the excitement I had going into spring break of senior year at Andover. I had already started looking for prom dresses and I planned that sweet, easy senior spring workload. I mean, I was gonna walk around with just a pen to go to class. But then lockdown started, and I remember hoping and wishing that we would return soon, but soon realized that I had to accept COVID as my new reality. I remember when my father caught the virus, and I prayed to God so deeply that he would not become one of the statistics I saw on the news channels during that time. Some of you may have lost loved ones during that time, and my heart goes out to you. It was not easy for our class to leave without saying the proper goodbyes and then be expected to move on with life as normal. Many of us ended up taking gap semesters or years, and for those of us who continued with school, we had to deal with an altered introduction into college. To get to the point today, we had to persevere through so much. So with the remaining time I have, I would like to speak on perseverance through the seasons. I want to dive deep below the surface and acknowledge a pain each of us may have felt over our years on this earth. Over the last year, and especially few months, I've experienced deep hurt. I've dealt with issues in my family and friendships, financial troubles, and health challenges. In fact, in March, a fire erupted in my apartment at school, which resulted in me and my roommate being displaced for about a week before being moved to a new unit. More recently, at the beginning of May, my childhood home was destroyed in a fire that started at my neighbor's home. My family lost most of our belongings, and my heart felt wrung over with grief. However, despite these experiences, I've learned the art of weathering through the storms of life. We grew up in a bubble here at Andover, to be honest, and I'm sure by now most of you must have realized that adulting is not for the weak. It would be foolish to believe that we will only experience good in this life. For life is a culmination of the good and the bad. Challenges will arise, but we must set our minds on strengthening ourselves to handle them with grace. Before I close, I would like to share 3 bits of wisdom for persevering through the trials, from my experience navigating these last few months and years. The first being family. Family is not limited to those who share the same blood as you. I'm talking about that community of ride or dies. People who whisper your name behind doors of opportunity, or who offer you a place to stay after a fire came in your apartment. Intentionally invest in your community. Work and school will always be there, but there's a time limit and a high value to relationships that's better to take advantage of now rather than later. The second being focus. What drives you? We're all at that age of discovering and rediscovering purpose. Some of you have known that you were meant to be a surgeon since elementary school, while others are just figuring out that they actually hate their current job or should have studied something else in college. Maybe you feel pressure to know it all right now, but I urge you to learn to make peace without knowing the exact next step you must take. Just pick a direction and go forward. Take risk and stay flexible for the unexpected. Give your all, but don't beat yourself up if it doesn't go well. You may fail, and trust me, I've failed a lot, but shoot for the stars regardless, because your consistency and discipline will take you quite far. And now the third, faith. Now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. As I look out across the room, filled with youth from every quarter and representing various faiths, religions, and philosophies, I must ask you all to permit me to share that as a Christian, my faith in Jesus roots me in the midst of chaos. I don't know tomorrow, but I look back at how I've been taken care of up to this point and choose to believe that things will be okay. Even if you don't align with a particular faith, let me offer another word, hope. Even when it doesn't feel like it, sometimes you need to wake up and choose hope, no matter the circumstances. I actively choose to walk with hope again and again, and this hope sustains me through the lows and high seasons that are a part of this life. So the 3 are family, focus, and faith. This list is not exhaustive, but I do hope that you can use it as a starting point to regain control in the midst of tough seasons. As a school, we're adjusting to the changing landscape in academia across the US. As a country, we are dealing with unemployment, affordable health care, and political turmoil across the board. As humans across the world, we are facing immense pain as seen in global wars, genocides, and more. However, within these moments of pain, I pray that we can look back to the times that we've persevered through Andover, the pandemic, and our college years, and trust and believe that we will get through this moment as well. Reinvest into your Andover family this weekend, and let us be there for you in whatever way possible. I just want to shout out my friends. After they heard about the house fire, they surprised me with a financial gift, and I didn't expect that, and I'm so grateful to them. Thank you guys so much. Non-SIBI should be more than just a slogan, but a lifestyle to be lived. And in doing so, we can help the next person stay the course and choose joy and choose hope, even in the midst of life's most difficult seasons. Thank you all, and God bless.
Well, that was nice of you. Abby, I've been impressed by you for a long time, never more so than tonight. Those are beautiful remarks, and you kept it together in a way that I'm not going to be able to. So very well done. And Fidelio, incredible, incredible, incredible. Dr. Kington, thank you for the invitation back. Class of 2020, it's awfully nice to see you. You made it. We made it to this place. Congratulations. And yes, to Abby's point, you have endured, I think, more than any class I know of in my 25 years or so of teaching. And here you are. I'm reminded of two stories that are actually not in my remarks, which will make it slightly longer than the intended 10 minutes, but I'm going to tell them anyway because we're all here. One was the first time I stood on the stage. I was giving my first faculty convocation address. It was in 2012. I was being introduced to a faculty that did not know me, and I was quite anxious about that speech. I had written it with care. I was sitting in my office over in GW, and I was printing it to come over here, and in walked a trustee. For those of you who know the trustees, they don't usually just walk into your office on a random evening in the summer, but this one did. She's a class of 1956. She's very nice. She was a trustee emerita, and she came in to walk me over to the chapel to give my speech. Has she done this for you, Dr. Kington? Yes. Betsy Parker Powell. It's a tradition of hers, which I didn't know was a tradition. Anyway, I was thrown a little, as you can imagine. A trustee I had not met in my office walking me to the chapel, grabbed the printout, so I pulled myself together, walked into the chapel just like this. The things happen, nice songs and so forth. I come up here. I start doing my speech, and then I get to a place where I thought the speech was going to keep going, but I was about 5 pages short of what I expected. I had taken it off the printer too quickly, or there wasn't enough paper, or whatever. There I am, introducing myself as the new guy to this faculty. So I did what you have to do, which is to wing it. Great enthusiasm. I'm walking out, and after that, you tonight will go over to the Falls Hall Music Center, which is going to be fun. We would go to Presky Commons. And so the same trustee was walking me over there. And she has a habit of giving feedback, a lot of it. I suspect Dr. Kington has also gotten this feedback, very well intended, not always well timed. In any event, John, I'm so glad you're here. Nice work. I have some comments on your speech. Oh, Betsy, thank you. Great. Anyway, what were your thoughts? And she said, well, it started out really slow. And the first, 8 minutes of it weren't very good. But then all of a sudden, you got going, and what a good speaker you are. This is great. I will tell you, from that time on, I did not give a single prepared all-school meeting ever again. It's true. It's true. I did prepare for tonight at commencements, I would prepare, but the other was this very touching moment from earlier today when a student contacted me through my son indirectly, but to say they didn't have a tie for tomorrow, a proper Andover tie, and didn't realize it was quite as formal as it was. So Dr. Cantor, you had a boomerang. I have the tie. You know who you are. If you'd like it, I have it for you here. Reminded me of the great job that we have, this wonderful job, which is to have a tie at every moment or whatever it is that we need to do as heads of school. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for inviting me back. I am so touched to be able to join you on the occasion of your 5th reunion as your faculty speaker for the baccalaureate ceremony. I am so excited to be here tomorrow, too, for your much-delayed graduation ceremony. I've always loved the baccalaureate ceremony on the night before commencement in this very chapel. My favorite role here was as your head teacher, and I have a special and enduring connection to your class, to all of you, the class of 2020. Over the past 6 years, since I saw most of you last, I've been asked many times what I miss most about Andover. The answer is always the same and very simple. I miss walking into this chapel to spend time with all of you, your younger selves anyway, in all-school meeting. What comes to mind is a brilliant, sunny fall day in particular, or if you prefer, a bright spring day, when the bells begin to toll in mid-morning. We all would stream out of classrooms, dormitories, and offices to come together into this one space. It is a special, special thing to walk up these chapel steps with all of you, and it's something I miss. It feels particularly meaningful that the last time I was here in this very space for an all-school meeting was with all of you in the spring of 2019. It was my chance to say thank you and goodbye after 7 years for me and 1, 2, or 3 years for you. I stood on this very spot at this same lectern and thanked you for the many kindnesses you all paid me and my family during our time here, and how inspired I was and am by your example, by your values, and by who you are. That is as true today as it was 6 years ago. Much, of course, has happened since then. If you're anything like me, when you come back to campus, I suspect you experience a flood of emotions. I typically come to this campus from the south, from the airport, or from Boston, so I approach campus by car up Route 28. As the emotions begin to rise, what happens is that the bell tower appears. Have you ever had this experience? In my frame of reference as campus draws near, and then the emotions turn from a flood to a tsunami. I'm guessing that's happened to some of you too, possibly today. It happens to me every time. I've learned something about reunions from high school. For context, this is your first, as in your fifth. I just had my 35th, yes, from another school. The phrase that I bear in mind when I go for reunions is from Heraclitus, perhaps best known to our students of ancient Greek. And he wrote, "No one ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and they are not the same person." You can't step in the same river twice. It's a little sad at first, maybe wistful is the proper word for it, but eventually I find the idea uplifting. The saying means that while you can return to the same place, in this case, Andover, you can't have exactly the same experience that you remember so well. Yes, the banks of the river are the same. The rocks are the same on the riverbed, most likely. For instance, the steps of Pereski Common are the same, with your indentations on them, by the way. But the water flows to the river, that's new. And you are a different person than when you were a student here. These things are inevitable. I see this mostly through reunions, when people come back brimming with nostalgia for a school that is no longer quite the same place. Fast forward a few years, and it might be relevant to you in another way. It's true for the parent or grandparent so psyched for their child or grandchild to attend the same school they did, and they find it transformed. In most cases, the school is transformed for the better, and that's, of course, the hopeful part. And in most cases, the child or the grandchild ends up having a great experience. But they're not stepping in the same river as their parent or grandparent, even as the buildings, the name, some of the faculty and staff remain the same. I still follow on Instagram the school, for instance. I am always relieved to see Bill Flynn showing up on the school's Instagram account, and many others, aren't you? And to see your favorite teachers and staff and coaches who are here today. You can never step in the same river twice. I found it helpful, if wistful, as I come back for my own reunions. And here we are, back in the same river, only with different waters swirling around us. And how? I'm grateful to be able to spend time with you in a season of profound change. As you might imagine, like Abby, I have some views on the politics of the time, but I will spare you those tonight in this most sacred of spaces. In the season of change, though, what I'm finding most is that Andover offered me something so very valuable, something enduring, something to which I can return. When I was here, yes, as a faculty member, not as a student, as an adult, not as an adolescent, the thing that was much the most important was to think about and shape the values that make me who I am. I hope that's true one way or another for you too. Please let me tell you a brief story of something that happened to me in Chicago recently. I was one day in my office downtown, quite focused on the crush of a busy day. Into my office walked a former Andover student. She had business a few floors away. She wanted just to say hello, popped into my office, and had in her hand a small bunch of flowers. I smiled when I saw her, as I will if any of you come to see me in Chicago. I set aside what I was doing, and we sat for a very brief chat. Before I tell this story, a little bit of context. I always had a view, we'll see if Dr. Kington agrees, that a student at Andover might well remember all-school meetings as a time once a week when we came together, and maybe you remember a particularly effective speaker or performer who visited us. But I had in mind that most students would never remember a thing I said. Despite the care with which I crafted those addresses, or the love with which they were delivered, which was always incomplete. One reason for repeating my stories about the angels, about zigzagging on the grass, about the steps in Presky Commons, it was in the hopes that you might remember, just a little thought or two if I repeated them over and over again. Back to the former student sitting across from me in Chicago, she sat across from me in my office because she said she wanted to revisit her younger self, the student who had sat in these very seats in all school meetings years before. Here's the thing, she had a very good job, but she was struggling with her next steps, with her future work. To be clear, it was not that she was having trouble getting work or making money and that kind of thing. It was that she wasn't sure that the work she would do would end up being fulfilling. So the reason that she had made her way to my office in Chicago with a clutch of flowers in her hands was that she wanted to talk about Andover's values, values that had sunk in so deep for her she couldn't shake them. I was, of course, delighted. I love to talk about these values. They were the reason, in part, why we moved our family to Andover, to be here with all of you. And I appreciated so much that she wanted to remember who she was, her younger self defined by these values. And then she surprised me, knocked my socks off. She wanted to tell me about an all-school meeting address I had given that she could not get out of her head. It was about one at a time in my life when I had left a lucrative private sector job for a job in academic life. It had to do with an elevator ride in a high-rise office in Boston when I'd been a young attorney at a big law firm. I was surprised that she had remembered it after a decade plus, and was pleased that something had resonated for a student after all this time. Amazing. But what didn't surprise me but astonished me, she restated that all-school meeting back to me more or less word for word. I mean, down to inflections and pauses. I could not have been more surprised or humbled. What she taught me in that sweet, short, fleeting visit was about finding out who you are. These are dramatic times in our world, and she was taking advantage of this disruption the best way she could to do real introspection, to dig back into what she valued most, what was most resonant and most memorable in her life. And that process led her right back here to this space, to these seats, and to her younger self as an Andover student. These times of trial, these are the times when you find out who you are. You find out which values, which commitments are most important to you. Mine, it turns out, tie tightly and sincerely to the values of this place. It is partly why I came to take the job as head of school in 2012. It is a big part of why I came back tonight to be with all of you. A big part of who I am is right here in this chapel all along. And right now, in what I'm doing, I need this part of myself and this part of our shared community. I'm so glad to be here with you. You may not be able to step in the same river twice, but one thing you can always do is to come home. And that, friends, is just what all of us have done by coming back here to your reunion and for your commencement ceremony. You can always come home. Why do we need these old institutions, the Andovers of the world? Shouldn't we just move on, create something new, something that wasn't here at the founding of our republic? Called me old-fashioned, but I am a believer in these old places, it turns out. Yes, they need to be shaken up, to be remade. They need new heads of school to be refashioned. But we need them, and they need us. We need places that define the values of a nation, as we did in 1778. We need places that struggle with the values of youth from every quarter, ever equally open, knowledge and goodness, and non-sibby. We need places where you can come back anytime and find your angel. For each one of you, I once asked you, a younger version of yourself, in this very spot, to find your angel up above. That's mine. In the midst of hard times, I've often stepped back here in this chapel to find mine. You can always come home. And though, yes, it is not the same river, it is always, in fact, home. Throughout your life, I hope and expect you will come back here to Andover, just as I have tonight, and as I will, just as my family will. We will come back here together to remember who we were when we lived here. We will come back to remember the people who loved and supported us, who are not here now. We will come back to rediscover our values and our mission, the parts we shared and the parts we struggled with. We will come back home throughout our lives, and it will mean something when we do. I very much hope that our paths might continue to cross, class of 2020, and that you will come back home, and I'll meet you here. Thank you again for giving me this chance to join you, to share this time and space, to be home here with you once more. Congratulations on your commencement. See you tomorrow.
Wow. Hi. How's everyone doing? Thank you, Mr. Palfrey, and a lot of emotions. So I'm talking so that I can hopefully collect myself and be able to play. And I apologize for any mistakes I make. And I will be winging it. So every time I look down, it is because I am nervous. Coming back here. I've been back to campus a few times since we left each other in the late winter of 2020. And I haven't cried until tonight because I haven't been here with all of you. Mr. Palfrey speaks every year. I know that I've probably screamed about this a few times last night over the music to a few people. Mr. Palfrey speaks about our angels. I frankly do not remember where mine is. Somewhere on one of those two back pillars. I can. And I realize that the impact that we make on this place, the dents in the stairs, the zigzags on the grass, the angels in this beautiful chapel, they're important, but they aren't anything without the people to our right, to our left, in front of us and behind us. So I guess, if I may, before I pick up my horn and do some things, pick for yourselves a new angel in the person sitting beside you, and keep that person in your heart wherever you go. Because they're the reason that Andover is a special place. They're the reason that we are the people we are today, and they're the reason that I can get up here with tears in my eyes and feel not terribly embarrassed, despite the fact that I probably should be. So, without further ado, I'm gonna pick up my horn and do what I do best. So.
Good? Chio and I will now lead everyone in a call and response, so you can check your pamphlets. For the blessings of the past, for that which is complete, those days now known in memory. We give gratitude for all who have shaped us, for families who nurtured our becoming, for communities that framed and honored our cultures, values, and identities, for friends who cheered us on when our educational paths separated us. We are grateful for those whose presence challenged us and widened our celebration of humanity. We give thanks for those who have gone before us, whose lives and love and spirit ground our sacred stories and connect us to the deeply good and loving within us and beyond us. And so, in response, we are grateful for those spaces and places that provide a sense of belonging, a home, the safety and grounding that allowed our less fearful and more emboldened leaving, for those familiar landscapes, skies, and breezes that were nature's gift of first wonder to our eyes, our ears, our touch of creation. We give gratitude for those places that opened us to the unknown, to the untraveled destinations in our neighborhoods, in our world that began our global sojourns, the unfamiliar that redefined our understandings of home and haven. And so, in response, we give thanks for the time when our days passed simply, with the most basic human activities of sleeping, eating, being held. We are grateful for the wide-eyed awakening to play, to color, to song, to speech, to movement, to touch, to the minds growing in thought, creativity, and intellectual capability. We give gratitude for our maturing in awareness, for our capacity to remember and to acknowledge the marking of time, looking towards birthdays, the visit of loved ones from afar, the first day of school, the end of exams. We are grateful for developing expectation, anticipation, aspiration, and a looked for promise and future. And so, in response,
for the blessings of the future, what will be, what might be, and that which is unknown. We give thanks for the people who will come into our lives, who will shape and change us, challenge and stretch us, comfort and console us, celebrate and honor us. We are grateful, too, for those who will continue on with us, making us laugh, catching our tears, carrying memories, some whose relationships will transform and deepen, others with whom we will lose touch, whose paths will diverge from ours. And so, in response, we give thanks for the new spaces and places of all the ventures ahead, not yet familiar and unknown awaiting us. Places that will shape and change us, and those places too, which we will impact and transform. We are grateful for a spirit of curiosity, respect, and appreciation, providing ways to truly see each place, listen to its winds, explore its fragrances and flavors, and hear the music and speak the tongues of new lands. And so in response, we give thanks for the ever-flowing stream of time, not knowing how much or how little of it we have ahead of us. Time experienced as it passes, sometimes slowly, often swiftly. Following the teachings of prophets and ancient ones, we are wise to cherish each moment as it arrives. We are grateful for what we will remember, those smallest of ordinary moments and the big and momentous ones which we will carry with us from our days and years here at Andover. And we accept that other moments will slip away. We are thankful for the untold future, all of the time, all the experiences, unseen gifts for each and all of us to consider. For this night, we rest in thanksgiving for all that has been, all that is, and for all that will be. And so in response,
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rabbi Joshua Greenberg, and as we prepare for the candle lighting ceremony, it's my honor to invite Dr. Kington to the stage and to ask all the ushers to come forward with your candles so that we may share our flames with one another. Having arrived at Andover after you all left, and not having had the privilege to meet you before this evening, I am humbled and grateful for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. Flame and light have served as powerful symbols across cultures and throughout history, representing knowledge, enlightenment, goodness, and truth. Fire, flame, and light have transcended basic functionality. It's not hard to imagine our most ancient and shared ancestors stepping into the darkness for the first time with a torch in hand, casting light on a world yet to be discovered. And as they dispersed across the earth, the stories they told and the traditions that they crafted, those we have inherited, held fast to the imagery of flame and light. The Torah tells of the Israelites being guided through the wilderness by a pillar of fire. The New Testament describes the transfiguration of Jesus his face and clothes robed in radiant light. The Quran affirms God as the light of the heavens and the earth. The Bhagavad Gita tells of Krishna dispelling ignorance from among humanity with the light of knowledge, as do the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. And the Wampanoag, whose ancestral land lies just to the south of Andover, called themselves, as their name means, the people of the first light. No one can claim that a flame or a light bulb shines brighter for them than their neighbor. It reveals for all, and at times allows us to reclaim moments we have long ago left. Upon seeing old friends, our faces light up. When returning to places of meaning, in person or perhaps only in thought, that dormant light in our eyes begins to twinkle with nostalgia. And of course, light and flame can serve as our beacons, our guides, to return to the faces and places that become synonymous with familiarity, with comfort, with belonging. Whether as one's North Star brightly burning light years away, or as the faint but steady revolving beam of a lighthouse cutting through the night's fog, light guides us to the places we call home. As you return to our campus, I wonder, what were the lighthouses? Who were the North Stars that guided you while here? What or who was it that ignited your spark? Please raise your candles, and if you are able to, please stand. As you look to these flames, as you behold their light and feel their warmth, know that together, all of us here, we have illuminated this vast space. Together with our various backgrounds, beliefs, and chosen professions, we have lit up this sanctuary with the same flame. We can provide light and warmth to those around us, regardless of the different and perhaps at times diverging paths we find ourselves on. May these lights that you cradle bless you now as you return here, and when you depart once again for the lives you've begun to build. May you serve as a beacon for others, for those who are lost and need guiding, for those who are cold and need warming. May you be the light for others that you once received here. Now I invite you to close your eyes, lower your hands, and gently blow out your candles. Please be seated.
Yon bonny banks and yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love were ever wont to gaze, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. You'll take the high road and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny bank parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, steep side of Loch Lomond, where deep in purple hue the Highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. Oh, you'll take a high road, and I'll take a low road, and I'll be in Scotland afar ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. The wee birdies sing, and the wildflowers swing, and in sunshine the waters are sleeping. But the broken-hearted can't maybe second spring again, nor the woefully cease from their grieving. I'll take a high road, and I'll take a low, and I'll be in Scotland afar ye. But I and my true love will never meet again by the bonny banks of Loch
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jenny Savino, and I have the great privilege of working in the alumni office here at Andover. Just some directions before we continue on with our evening. Faculty, staff, and families of 2020, when you leave the building, please make your way to a lovely reception over at the Falls Music Center. To the class of 2020, we have your dinner dance, prom, already. There are buses outside if you wish to get on them and ride over to the Snyder Center, or you can walk. Your class picture, which was to be taken on the steps here, it's quite wet outside, so we are going to take that when you arrive to the Snyder Center. While I'm up here, I'm just going to remind our wonderful class of 2020 that you have breakfast tomorrow. As you requested, with your faculty. They are signed up. It is in their calendars. We look forward to you also being there. That is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And for the families who will all be joining us tomorrow, commencement will step off at 10:30 sharp. Thank you.
Okay, my friends, it is a magical night, the night of Baccalaureate. I tell every graduating class this truth, and it is no less true for you this night. Tonight, there's magic in the air. Suspended in time for a few hours, you are between chapters and folds. When you walk down the aisle tonight, you carry with you a knowing of this Andover ritual now that is truly yours. Your baccalaureate was unlike others before those that would follow. Perhaps it tasted sweeter for the wait. Perhaps you could appreciate its wisdom and blessing more authentically for knowing the fabric of space and time anew. Your tesseract that carried you out from this place carried you back to it. I will hope there are so many more moments when you return again and again to this place, stepping in the same river again, but all new at the same time. So pack an extra dose of family, focus, and friends in your bags tomorrow when you leave here, for you have known how unpredictable the dimensions of living can be. The what-sits and the who and the which will ask much of you tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. For tonight, I invite you to leave here that which no longer serves you. Disappointments, the what-ifs, and the hurts. Take here only that which will lighten your next journey. Hope, gratitude, love, an anchoring of true blue values, all of the pieces that make you who you are now. But there is room enough to leave the heavy behind and take only the lessons from it. Go with a lightness of being, with a blessing of promise, with an embrace of gratitude for all that was, all that is, and all that will be. In the name of all that is holy and all that is good. Amen.